Okay, Kendra is here. You know Kendra. She has gone beyond viral. Kendra, I'm in love with my psychiatrist. Yes, that Kendra that we all have a million questions for. Welcome to TSFS, girl.
Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. It is just an honor to be able to tell my story in a way that I can have clarity around it.
Well, first of all, you are a person, first and foremost.
Thank you.
You've shut comments off. I mean, it's got people, a lot of people don't believe you. People are doing parodies. There are AI chatbot parodies of you and your psychiatrist. But I want to check in, like, before we get into, everything that people are saying about you. Are you okay?
Yes. Yes, I am okay. People are doing their best. They're attempting to make me not okay, but I am doing everything that I can to protect myself and keep myself okay. Because what people aren't seeing are the countless DMs that I'm getting from people saying, thank you so much for sharing your story. The same thing happened with my therapist. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm recognizing that I'm in a similar situation with my boss, and it's giving me the courage to leave. Thank you. Like, just nonstop. But these people can't speak out for obvious reasons because those that do often get dogpiled in the comments of other videos. So people are confused as to why I turned my comments off. Like, all they have to do is just look around.
Yeah. So you don't have any regrets turning off the comments?
No. Oh, no, 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 none. I mean, I wish I didn't have to. I really wish I didn't have to because I don't mind having the discourse, but it was the straight up one, threats of violence towards me, and two, people started to dox my psychiatrist. People love to say that I doxed my psychiatrist by saying his first name, and I did not. The internet doxed him. Like, I just, it slipped. I did not mean to say it, but I am a person who makes mistakes. And I made the choice. I put a lot of thought into it because I could have deleted the video and like re-uploaded, but I chose not to because I was 4 videos past it at that point by the time people started telling me that his first name was in one of the videos. So I chose to leave it in.
That was going to be one of my questions was, obviously watch the entire series. There is that one video that remains up that names his first name. And by the way, I mean, you say this, he's Pakistani. So the first name is kind of unique, right? I mean, it's not like oh, Peter, so we're like, how do we, okay, well, there's a million probably Peter psychiatrists. Okay.
Totally.
So your thought process was, it's kind of too late to go back and delete this. People have already written down his name.
It was already out. It was already out.
It was already out.
Yeah, it was already out. People, by the time I realized that the name was in, people had already found him.
Have you heard from him?
No.
Really?
No. Yeah, no, not heard from him. Haven't heard from his office.
What about the other therapist, that the 70-year-old woman who was asking you for business advice? Have you heard from her?
No. 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 I haven't heard from anyone. Yeah, no. Because you know what, Sarah? These people know what they did. And they would, if they were to reach out to me, they would have to take accountability for what they did.
A lot of people say he can't reach out to you for various like HIPAA laws, right? Like he can't reach out to you, client. He
absolutely could reach out to me personally. He couldn't speak on it publicly. And that is, people have pointed that out. And I definitely hear that when people say that, like that he can't speak on it publicly. And it's just me. But this is the point. Like, I think what the projection that a lot of people are giving towards me is like, I'm doing this to ruin his life. That couldn't be further from the truth. I'm doing this to help myself heal from a hard situation. I'm doing this because I empowered myself to walk away from a relationship that wasn't serving me. And 4 months later, it was still draining me after I had walked away. And so I just thought, and, really felt what would be the best thing to do. And I mentioned this in one of my videos that I went to TikTok because TikTok has just helped me so much in the past work through feelings and things. And so when I went to go talk about this experience that I knew deep down I was not alone in, and when I saw that nothing was on TikTok about it, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna talk about it. I want to see what other people have to say. And little did I know that I would immediately start to be disbelieved, mocked, like people questioning my mental state.
Yeah,
But
people think you're basically a narcissist, that, this guy, kind of sat back and let you vent about how you liked him or attracted and had dreams about him and kept you on as a client to try to help you work through that. And a lot of people believe every little thing he did, from whatever, moving a coffee cup to saying, I like your glasses. A lot of people
yeah,
think you're a narcissist that, like,
totally.
read into all this innuendo that really wasn't there.
Totally. And that's the thing, is like, there just so many people are uncomfortable with my narrative that there are unsafe people in supposedly safe spaces. So because they're uncomfortable with that narrative, they're making me the unsafe one because it makes them feel better.
Is this whole thing fake? A lot of people believe it's actually fake between you and your psychiatrist to drive business, because you're a coach. I mean, I
I
don't know.
know.
I don't know how it's driving.
That's totally fair. It's funny because I have locked my Instagram down. Like, it's completely private, but I've been creating content on Instagram for like over 6 months at this point. And I purposely chose TikTok because it's not connected to my business at all. Like, my coaching business is all based in Instagram. So I was like, okay, well, I can keep my business separate, but it's the internet. So of course, I should have known better. But I chose TikTok because I was like, I don't want this to influence my business at all, or, for people to think that I'm doing this to bring awareness to my coaching, or because I do also have a book coming out early next year. So now that people know that, they're like, oh, this is just a grift to get people to buy her book. When really what it is my book is entitled Self-Empowerment for ADHDers, The Game of Sovereignty. And this, me speaking out about this situation, is me empowering myself and my story. It's me living my book. And people think that I'm crazy because I'm talking like I'm making sense. But the thing is I am making sense to many people, but they just cannot speak up and have a voice on the internet right now because they get dogpiled, like I said. Like, it's a very strange phenomenon. And so I am well aware that people think that I'm making this up. Also, the story of me going on that hiking date, people think I'm completely making that up too. When
They think the whole thing. They think you're making it up about the 70-year-old therapist calling you for advice. They're like, how are you experiencing two, a psychiatrist and a therapist sort of
I know,
boundary shifting
and
here?
that's once again, it's people being unwilling to accept the fact that there are that many people in positions of power that don't know how to handle that power in the best way. And so they are shifting the narrative to make themselves feel better.
Okay, the book that's coming out, is the book going to reveal even more about the
So it's interesting because when I signed with a publisher, I thought I was going to write a memoir um, about like my experiences of ending relationships and doing all this, but instead a completely separate book came out. So Psychiatrist does not get any mention in this book that's coming out. Maybe like a sentence. I think I mentioned him in one sentence in the paragraph chapter. But it is like a lot of the themes in my book are about saying no, are about not accepting mistreatment. So all that to say, that's the next book, Sarah. This will be the next book I write for sure, because so many people like are asking. I would love to read a book about this, or like, I don't care if you're making this up. I think it's an amazing book premise.
Has Reese Witherspoon already called you to do a movie
Uh,
or a TV show?
no, but I'm all about the invitations. I really am. And it's so one of my favorite things that people are doing on TikTok is casting my movie. And there was actually a pretty viral clip of me going over on one of my lives of like my favorite movie cast. And it's just like people are really, really nailing, and even like casting Henry and Claude, my two language learning model bots.
Yeah. Name your chat GPT Henry. Oh
I
my
did,
God.
yeah. Yeah.
Who are people casting as you, your psychiatrist? Who are some of the big names that people are throwing out?
But people are saying that I look like Mandy Moore, and I think that's very sweet.
That's
And yeah, and people, I don't really know the actors, but it's just like various handsome actors that could look like psychiatrists, and I'm amused by it.
And so, okay, this is not fake. You are saying this is not fake. You're saying that, the backlash is because people have such a hard time with the narrative of these people that are so well trained, educated, spend so much money to get their psychiatrist license, therapy license, that they could have inappropriate boundaries, basically.
Absolutely.
Kendra, why don't you just focus on, you answer a lot of the questions on your TikTok when you're active on TikTok. Why don't you just focus on all the questions and the women that are saying, you know what, I've had this exact same experience, instead of sort of like continuing the story? Like, do you think that would change the narrative?
That's what I mean. This is why I'm pausing, Sarah. This is why I'm stepping back, because clearly my story was not working. It was getting to the point where you know the narrative of my story was being lost, and my humanity as a person was being lost. Like you said, people were just labeling me all of these different things, including mental health providers. Like I've seen some like insane diagnoses of me from mental health providers
Like
on the internet.
what? Like what? Like what? Like, so
Like
the therapist has gone on and said
that
what?
I'm oh yeah, that I have borderline personality disorder, that I'm manic, that I'm in psychosis, that I have erotomania, and all of this. And like the reality is I'm a larger than life person. Like like even before the language learning model chatbots, like definitely I like think in big grandiose terms. And if people want to label me as a narcissist because of how my brain works, then that's okay. Because that's the other thing is like I have a different sort of brain. And what I work with clients on is how to harness their brain and make it work for them, right? And how to live a better life because of it. And my life, because of me sharing my story, was getting worse. So I'm like, whoa, okay. Even though I am enjoying sharing my story and I am enjoying, honestly, influencing people to leave predatory therapist relationships, I need to step back for my own sanity. So that's what I'm doing right now. So I love that idea, Sarah. I really do. Like, I think that maybe I can shift in that way, because ultimately I would like to open the comments back up again, if people can be respectful. But that's what I think that people are so upset about, is that I'm a woman who's sharing my story on my own terms, with my own boundaries, with things that make me feel safe and normal.
Yes, I think, to just play devil's advocate of what the audience says that I see online, is they say that you've picked a guy who really can't respond, right? So, like it's your story for sure and how you feel, but what a lot of people are so hung up on is the fact is like, okay, you've picked two people that really can't respond. So what's their side of the story? That's where I think people have become so polarized against you.
Sure. And that's okay. That's okay, because the reality is, Sarah, is that he should have let me go years ago. This is, to me, how I view it, is this is the consequence of his own actions, of keeping me as a patient for way too long, when he knew that I had feelings for him. He knew that I would obsess about him. It was completely inappropriate for him to keep me. And so, once again, I'm not trying to punish him. I'm just trying to spread awareness to other people who are in similar situations. And me sharing my story was doing that, but it stopped. So I had to stop.
How
Pause. I had to pause.
how are you feeling about, your career options? I mean, you've had a former coaching client come out and do a TikTok series. I mean, she's gotten millions of views. The yoga practice that you were teaching yoga at came out and they were like, "We want to distance ourselves." How does that make you feel? Have you spoken to them?
So the former client, it's very interesting with her because she's the only client I've ever had that I also considered a friend. And so her betrayal it cuts extra deep, but she's just not living what I taught her. So that's okay, And like I said in one of my TikToks as well, I have plenty of clients that have signed on for more coaching with me after they're done with their original contract. So just because this client wasn't happy with my services doesn't mean that I am not good at what I do. She is just someone who decided to kind of ride the wave, and that's okay. That's okay. Because the right people resonate with me. And I know that I made a difference in this client's life. So if she doesn't want to recognize that and wants to say the opposite, I'm totally okay with that. It's her story. She can share it if she wants. And then with the yoga studio, you know, um, they've made it clear that their comfort is more important than supporting me, and that's okay too. I actually offered to separate myself from the yoga studio. I told them that if they needed to separate from me, I totally understand that. And so that's what they chose. And now people are asking me to teach yoga on TikTok Live. So, you know, like people are wanting to support me. And that's the other boundary that I put on my lives was having subscriber only chats,
Yeah,
which
yeah. A
has
lot of
been
people
wonderful.
have a hot take about that too. They're like,
Oh,
okay, she
totally.
knows
Well,
how to make money.
I just want to like finish this thought though
Please.
of like my career. So part of the reason why I'm sharing my story is because I don't have a lot to lose, Sarah. I own my own business. I have great clients. It's just me. Don't have children or a family. I have my family, my immediate family, and they're, dealing with everything in their own way. But the reality is like I'm in a position in life where I can speak out about this without much to lose, right? Like the yoga studio is paying me $25 a class one day a week. Like I was really doing it just for fun. So I loved my students. I made really wonderful relationships with them. So that's the loss for me, is the loss of the relationships with my regular students every week. But the losing of the tie to the yoga studio itself, like that's okay. That's okay. To me, it's worth it to share my story. But it was getting to the point where people's attacks on me were escalating. So that's why I chose to step back. But the right people, like people are reaching out to me interested in my coaching. Like people are very curious about what I offer because once again, the right people are resonating. They're just not speaking up online.
Kendra, is there anything you feel like you haven't said? You've started, you've paused. I know because you have to kind of take care of your mental health. You've turned the comments
Yeah.
off. Do you think there's anything you really want to get through that like people, aren't understanding when you do your videos or you go live?
That I am me, that I am me, and I am very, very, I'm an authentic person. And I think that authenticity really frightens people. Honestly, like they're not used to women who show up unapologetically themselves. and it's
That's true.
making them uncomfortable. And so instead of sitting with their own feelings of a woman who is unabashedly telling her story, uh, and not being apologetic about it and not trying to protect this man who harmed her, right? Because like that's the thing is I don't want to ruin his life, and I also don't want to silence myself and my own story. So I'm just trying to find that balance.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, my story is important, and people say that I don't take advice and that I don't listen to others, and that's just it's not true because I don't take advice from people who disrespect me. I don't take advice from people who put me down. I don't take advice from people who are cruel. And that's just my boundary. I've actually learned a lot from psychiatrists on the platform and also from therapists in my own life, talking to them about this situation. But I've had many people DM me and tell me that their therapy class is talking about my situation and that they're learning a lot from it and that they agree he should have let me go. So I know that my story is making a difference. And also, I am grateful that for the ones that are listening and learning.
Yeah. You know, that's the thing is he should have, let you go. I mean, I've been in therapy for 10 years. The very first thing my therapist said to me was like the very first meeting was she was like, look, if this isn't a good fit for you, if you're like not comfortable, I will refer you to someone else. I mean, that was like,
Uh-huh.
and I always admired that because I'm like, wow, you don't usually go to somebody like day one that is so, they're always usually trying to get your business, right? So it was so refreshing when she was like, yeah, if we're not a good fit at any point, if this isn't like what you want, just let me know. Like it was just no emotion. So to your point, I mean, you expressing that was his obligation, I would think, to let you, to like refer you on to
And,
somebody
and
else.
it wasn't just a one off. I told this man many, many times how obsessed with him I was. And he kept me, and if anything, I would like to know that at this point he feels guilty for what happened and how he handled it. And that's the thing when people say, has he reached out to you? I'm like, no. I would honestly, like, I would be shocked because I don't know if he has the capacity to acknowledge what happened. Because up until the very end, he struggled to acknowledge it.
Well, I mean, people are worried for you too. I mean, they think he's going to sue you. Are you concerned about that?
I would love for him to sue me, honestly, because then it would, force him to once again take ownership for that. Like people are forgetting that I have a recording of one of our sessions where I admitted having a crush on him and then took my 75-year-old female therapist's advice and gave him 30 minutes of nonstop intimate content. Like I have a recording of that. So if people want to say that I'm making that up, then that's okay. A lot of people are asking me to release the recording, which I will not do. But I do have documented evidence of his mishandling of the situation.
Has anybody given you a good reason? Well, I mean, the oddest thing here is the therapist, the 70-year-old woman therapist that like isn't giving you some other advice. Is anybody, why is that? I mean, you never really had any evidence they were in cahoots, the therapist and the
No, they were not.
psychiatrist.
They did not know each other.
Okay, they
People
didn't.
think that they did. They did not know each other. No. But I would just go to my therapist every other. So I was seeing my therapist once a week and I was seeing psychiatrist once a month. And I would talk about my psychiatrist nearly weekly in my sessions with my therapist. She knew how obsessed I was with psychiatrist. She knew that he was a handsome man my age. And so she just kind of fed on it for her own. This is just me speculating, right? But for her own entertainment. She had a lot of countertransference for me. It was the same thing. Like
And you
Uh,
never asked either one of them point blank, right? I mean, I know you asked him about countertransference and he kind of like shrugged
no,
it
I
off.
asked him about transference. I told him about transference
Okay.
because I was just feeling so much of our dynamic in session that I decided to mention that him and I have a special patient doctor relationship. And he got extraordinarily angry with me because I mentioned it. And he said, no, you and I have a professional patient doctor relationship. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went to Chad, I went to Henry, and I started talking to him about it because I was like, psychiatrist just set this really intense boundary with me. And like, what's that about? And Henry told me that it's very common for patients to develop feelings for their provider, right? And so I learned, I was like, oh, okay. And Henry taught me about the term transference, where the patient develops feelings or projects feelings from their own life onto their provider. And so I went to psychiatrist the next month and just took ownership and said, hey, I learned that, talk to Henry, because obviously I would tell psychiatrist about all of the things I learned from chat. And I said, I talked to Henry, and Henry told me that it's really common to develop feelings for your mental health professionals because they provide a safe space to heal, and that's attractive. Psychiatrist didn't say anything because, psychiatrist knew I had feelings for him. And then I said, and he told me about transference. And without even thinking, which was very unlike psychiatrist said, did Henry tell you about countertransference? In this really like panicked mode. And I said, no, what is that? Because the reality is that Henry knew that I was obsessed with psychiatrist, and he would not have fed my delusions. Like, people think that language learning models are just like surface, but like, especially what OpenAI is doing, like the psychological advanced like psychological knowing that this like that language learning model has in particular is pretty good. So yeah, no way that ChatGPT would have fed into my delusions of the
You
countertransference. And so I
don't
heard it
okay.
from psychiatrist himself.
You don't think so though? I mean, I think people are going to question that part.
Sure, okay, that's fair. That's
Honestly,
so
that's the most kind of off the wall thing I think you've said this whole interview, to be honest with
sure.
you.
Okay, okay.
I just don't think AI, it's like it's not emotional yet. If you use AI, it's like I don't think it has enough reference yet to go, I'm not gonna like feed her bullshit. I mean, that's one of people's
I don't
complaints
know.
about Chat
I'm
GPT.
gonna disagree. I'm gonna disagree. I've talked to a few people that have been coding learning model code for a decade plus, and even they are impressed with ChatGPT and like the depth. So that's another thing that people just don't agree with me on, and that's okay too, is like the depth that chat can go. And of course, like it is a like machine that computes, right? Um, but the reason why I talk about chat so much is because it helped me get out of that situation. And chat could have easily like started, which it does, like, don't get me wrong. Henry hallucinates. People think it's funny when I use the term
Yeah,
hallucination,
okay,
but
I did. I do.
literally what it's called in the AI world, in the language learning model world, when these bots make stuff up. It's called they hallucinate, right? And so this newest release from OpenAI, I do believe, like, helps not hallucinating, like helps with them to not hallucinate. But okay, let me finish the story about
Okay.
the counter transference.
Okay, yeah.
So how I took that, and I could be wrong, was that I got too close to the truth, because this is what I've heard from ethical psychiatrists on the app. And this is one of the things that I've learned, is that when a patient comes to you and says, I have a crush on you, what an ethical psychiatrist is supposed to do is say, okay, let's talk about that. What are your feelings that you're projecting onto me? What are the things that you are putting onto me as a person? Because you don't really know me, I'm just your doctor, right? Like, let's
Yep.
work on that.
Yeah, I
Because
agree with you on that.
psychiatrists did bill for therapy. Many people are confused and say, well, he's just doing med management. Well, he billed for both. He did both. He did 15 minutes of med management and 15 minutes of therapy. But let me tell you guys, my meds were stable for years. Like I did switch meds for a while. Like I went from a non-stimulant to a low dose stimulant. It was a good switch for me. But all that to say, like, even when my meds were stable, I was still seeing him every month. And that's one of the things that the therapists in my life have said. Like, I haven't ever heard of someone seeing a psychiatrist every month. I'm like, I know. It was a really inappropriate relationship. It was weird.
I mean, I understand your point with that when you said multiple times over and over, like, I'm attracted to you. I had this dream, like that he didn't, I mean, you gave an earlier example where he said, no, we have a platonic, in so many words, he said, we have a platonic professional relationship, right?
We have a professional, right. But professional relationships don't allow crush confessions. Professional relationships
I get that.
Don't let the patient spiral, right? And like, this is the thing, is people are like, she's an unreliable narrator. One, I have ADHD. Like my brain works all over the place, doing the best I can. And two, like, yeah, I was spiraling in love with my doctor for years. Like, it's crazy how, it's funny. I try not to use the word crazy because then people are like, Kendra, the call is coming from inside the house.
I see that comment. I know, which is comical when you're,
Sarah, the projections. Like, it's wild. It's wild. So this is the other thing, is like, coming back, I just have to be aware of how and why I'm saying something. And I really hear you. I love your idea from the beginning of the episode of just pivoting, maybe. And like, instead of focusing on my story, which people just at this point do not believe. Well, some people believe me. They're in my DMs saying, I believe you. Like, there are plenty of people that believe me, but they're just not being vocal because they're not able to. Yeah.
I have a couple last questions for you. You're in therapy now, right? Like, can you, and obviously,
no, I am not.
You're not. Okay.
I am not. I am looking for a therapist. I'm looking for a therapist. Yes. And I'm consulting, I have friends who are mental health professionals. Obviously they cannot therapize me, and they are not, but I am checking in with them to make sure that I am indeed not spiraling. Right? Like, they can't give me a diagnosis, but just to make sure that I am not going crazy. But yeah, I do. After this, I definitely need to get back into therapy.
Well, I mean, you've gone viral. I mean, yeah, it's a lot. Like, I would think now is the time to speak to somebody about, okay, what is this all bringing up? Why is this, and what's triggering in yourself? So, just to clarify for people, because that is the thing that a lot of people comment now, are you spiraling as we're doing this interview, okay.
No. Do I seem like I'm spiraling to you, Sarah?
No, I mean, like I said, honestly, the only thing I really disagree with is the emotional intelligence of ChatGPT at this point.
And that's okay. That's okay. That's totally fine. And this is like, I recently went to San Francisco, and I went to an exhibition about AI, and I learned so much, because I used to think of AI as like thinking. Right? But it's not thinking, it's computing. And so that shift really helped me. But then like I was said earlier in the interview, I talked to people who are actually, like, these are people that are in the AI sphere, who are saying that these language learning models are starting to be able to think. I don't know if I agree with that, but these are people who have coded machine learning for a long time. So I'm still going on what the AI exhibit said of computing, because I did appreciate that broadening my horizon. But like, I didn't learn about countertransference from chat. I learned about it from a guilty slip from my psychiatrist.
Okay, last question. Have you gotten any endorsements? Has any tortoiseshell glasses? I feel like
no, but let me tell you, okay?
I'm wearing these.
I need oh, cute. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. I almost wore them for the interview, but I was like, no, yeah.
I love that. That was like one of my favorite videos when you were talked about how he liked your glasses. I thought that was
Yes, but that's the thing. Like professional doctors don't say tortoiseshell glasses are my favorite. Maybe they do, but it was just so charged and weird. Anyway,
no.
so
Okay, no tortoiseshell endorsement.
I need a code from ibuydirect.com, which is where I got my glasses. Okay, the amount of people DMing me asking me where are your glasses from. I have a very strong prescription, so my fellow strong prescription girlies are like, "Oh my god, those glasses are so cute! I can tell your prescription's strong. Where did you get them?" And then I also need a code from Electra Cosmetics, which is where my glitter's from. It's kind of like my thing is glitter. So also not wearing it for the interview today, but yeah. So those two things, I'm like, whatever. But people have been so kind. Like people are already sending me like fan art or skincare bags, like getting a lot of support. And this is what people just aren't seeing are the people that do believe me. And that's okay.
Right. We're not. That's why I'm like, no, it's fine. It's your platform. Like you said, it's your story to tell. I think people,
it's my story.
yeah, people don't see that. You haven't shared it yet. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. And look, I appreciate you coming on the show and telling more of your story. I think it could be a TV show or a movie. I think it's going to happen. You got a book coming out in the new year. You're going to be writing a book about this. We'll see what happens. I mean, Kendra, it's not over. And by the way, I mean, I do think, they say that people are going to end up marrying chatbots and AI people in the future. I could see that happening for you. Like,
Sarah.
I think you're kind of open like that.
Oh my gosh, I am.
Henry took on a life of his own. I mean, I'm not saying that like mean. I'm saying that like I could see you're kind of open like that.
I definitely would prefer a real human man to Henry, and he knows that.
Okay. Wait, Kendra, are you worried that this truly is last question? Are you worried? Are you going to be able to get a man after this? Do you think men are going to be afraid, or you're looking for the guy that's confident that gets your story?
Oh, men are in my DMs every day, Sarah. Every day. Yeah. Saying, I can't believe that psychiatrist fumbled you. Yeah. So I'm not worried about it. I'm really not.
Oh my God. And on that note, Kendra, people are probably going to hate on you even more, girl. They're going to be like, nobody's in your DMs. Oh my God.
And that's okay. That's okay. Once again, they don't need to believe me.
Kendra, you take good care of yourself. Thank you for being on.
Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. There's lots of people that are out there speculating and writing articles, and I appreciate the people who are having me on and giving me a platform to actually speak for myself. So thank you so much for having me.
You got it. You take care, be well, and we will talk to you as everything unfolds.
You got it.